All right, let's go over, what are we going over? We're going over roundhouse kick, all right? And just the basics of it. The super fundamental basics of roundhouse kicks, all right? One thing I want to mention before Angie takes the floor and kind of explains like how she feels about it and wants to show you. I'm going to explain how I came to the point where I started getting this down. Most of the time when we learn how to kick stuff, we're not kicking in this horizontal or diagonal fashion. Our targets aren't always here. We're kids kicking balls. And although that might seem like, well, why are you mentioning that? This is obviously a different scenario. When your muscle memory for years is kicking like this, you tend to want to use the quad to snap a kick. And a ball is a lot easier to kick far and to create some sort of great impact than an actual person is. All right? So what I would do lots of times when I first started fighting and I didn't really have a real coach is I would keep this front foot planted and I would throw my kicks like that. And the reason why I did that is because I felt like I can pull myself back into my stance a lot easier. I can go for takedowns afterwards. I'm not committing to this opening up that a lot of people were trying to mention that had seen the way that I kicked, and they said, well, you need to open up your hips more. I felt more comfortable doing that, but it had no power on it. There was no real impact. So what I want to stress is that you guys really take the time to open up. And if you're practicing without a bag or anything like that, that you oftentimes, unless you're real advanced with it, you kick all the way through. You let yourself follow through. So not only am I opening up my hip, and maybe even in the beginning of me learning it, I'm going to want to turn my foot to the outside. But as I kick, I'm going to follow through with this rear shoulder. This rear shoulder is going to follow the motion of my hip, okay? So it's not about keeping balance and kicking like this. It's about opening up and treating yourself like a door that swings all the way through, okay? You take it.
All right, so about the kicks. There's a basic to the kick, of course. But then there's also as many kicks as there's colors, I would say. It depending on in what situation you are. So if I'm attacking the legs, my body function or motion might be slightly different as if I'm kicking the body or the head, or if I'm doing some crazy spontaneous kick because I saw the target and I'm just going for it. I've seen people get knocked out by getting these weird angles from almost behind and still kicking people in the head and knocking them out. So there's a lot of basics to a kick though, as I said. For example, perfectly we would like to get a full impact with our shin. And that is true for kicking the legs, or for kicking the body, or for kicking the head. Obviously, this part of my leg is way stronger than if I was just catching with the end of my foot. There's still a little, give in my foot than as if I land flush with my shin. The way I am coming in for the kick can make a huge difference. If I just rely on my rotation, then the whip is really important. Now, there's also kicks that have more of a forward thrive. They are very hurtful and powerful. It's really like you coming in with your whole body force almost like a punch. So these are very painful and they go right into the bone, into the muscle. So preferably when I am kicking, I do want to step slightly on the angle. I'm not there for his counter punches. Any kind of punch, right? I'm off the angle. And it decreases the time that it takes for my leg to travel to his body. Obviously, the radius that I have to take for the kick is way longer if I am standing right here in front of him, bring my rear leg to get to him. But if I can step slightly, I decrease the radius of the kick. So the distance is shorter, and I can use a little bit more force and power in landing the kick because I have to travel less of a distance for the kick to land. So again, I like to step slightly, just like he said, open up my legs a little bit, either way. But sometimes, especially if I'm going with a super tall person and I gotta go high, getting off the angle sometimes doesn't help me as much. I have to lean and really get high. Sometimes this has to happen really, really quick. Now, the secret here to get there is to bring my knee up as high as I can. The important part is to go over this shoulder. And again, the more I use distance, all this space here, it takes too long. When I'm going for the head and I want to get it up there quick, this is the way I want to travel. Straight up his body. But if I don't turn over, my kick will just go straight past his head. I will miss it. So the last part, when I'm coming over the shoulder, I have to turn. But the secret to this is coming straight up the body and then turning. So, yes, that's all I have to say about the kicks today. Again, there's a lot of basic stuff to them. Important is, though, you opening your hips and the rotation for a whipping kick, forward power for more of a baseball, or like if you're golfing, think of it like you're hitting someone with a golf. That is very similar to a kick that has more of a straightforward force.